Today, I want to share with you how I've scaled now two different coaching businesses in very different niches to over 20K per month with no team, no setters, no VAs, and zero sales calls. So I call this the Freedom Flywheel, and it consists of one ad, one daily Instagram story, one daily Instagram post, one daily email, and one offer. That's it. This extremely simple system here is the same strategy that I've used to help dozens of other coaches add 5, 10, 15K plus per month to their monthly income over the last 11 months or so. And in this video here, I'm going to walk you through this entire system step by step so you can practically just copy it for yourself if you want. Now, if you are new to my world here, or if that all sounds kind of crazy or insane to you, or if you're skeptical at all about any of those claims, promises there, I get it. I'm not making this video to try and prove anything to you or try to convince you of anything. I simply want to share with you what I found works best for me and for my clients right now for generating multiple six figures per year as an online coach in the simplest way possible. And I'm not going to do any fancy slideshow here, no crazy editing, just going to be me, you, and a roadmap to get you from wherever you're at right now to 250K plus per year, which is about an average run rate of 21K per month or so. Now, before we jump in, I want to kind of just give a little disclaimer here. The business model I'm going to walk you through is extremely simple, but it does take time to build and to create momentum with it. So if you're looking for a get-rich-quick scheme, just kindly fuck off because this probably is not for you at all. But if you're looking to build a real, lasting, sustainable business and you're willing to be patient and put in the effort and the time to build it right, then stick around because you're in for a treat here. Now, to start off, I want to kind of tell you a little story or a little bit of background here about how I used to run my previous coaching business, which is what I used, the old business model that I used to hit my first ever 10, 15, and even some 20K plus months. And I want to kind of explain that first so I can kind of give you an understanding of why I decided to make a big shift and start doing things a lot differently back in 2022 or so when I started using this new Freedom Flywheel system that I'm going to walk you through here today. So the way that I used to run my previous business, I started back in 2018, and I built my business the way that everyone kind of told me to do it. The way that every kind of guru preached was the only way to build a high ticket coaching business. So what I did was basically try and make all my content go viral. I hired a VA to spam DM anybody who kind of breathed near my content. I pushed everybody to a sales call. And then on the sales call, I would aggressively persuade people to buy with endless objection handling until they either bought, paid me, or they hung up on me. And just kind of rinse and repeat that process. And I stuck with that model for a little over 4.5 years or so. And I stuck with it for so long because it kind of worked. Like I said, that got me to my first ever 20K plus months. But the money, the profits didn't come without a cost. So at the time, for those first 4.5 years of my business, I was working 10 to 12 hour days, 6 to 7 days a week. I was spending 15 to 20 hours a week on sales calls. I was stuck on this constant content hamster wheel of posting 4 to 6 times a day on 4 different platforms. I had over 100 active clients at the time who were mostly a pain in the ass because I pushed everybody to buy even if they weren't ready to actually commit to it yet. I was stressed out of my mind. I was on anxiety meds just so I can get a little bit of sleep at night. I had absolutely zero freedom in my life. And that is when I realized that even though I was making good money, the profit wasn't worth sacrificing my life, my sanity, and my mental health for. So around the middle of 2022, I essentially decided to burn everything down and try to build up from the ground again. And at the time, I honestly didn't care if I lost money or if my profits and income went down because I got to a point where I realized that my peace and my freedom were worth more than that. So I made a few really major shifts in my business. I fired my assistant, my VA. I stopped doing all sales calls. I stopped posting on multiple platforms and I went all in on Instagram and I raised my prices. And then I also kind of stepped back and took some time to really just get clear on the core values and the standards that I wanted to hold for myself and that I wanted to hold my business to. And then I used these I kind of settled on 5 core values that I wanted to use as my essentially guiding principles and my decision makers for my business that were going to guide everything for me going forward. So I'll share these core values with you that I kind of use as my guiding principles because I think you'll probably resonate with them too. So number 1 was profit, not revenue, not just numbers on the Stripe account, but profit. And so my goal was to keep 85% plus profit margins so that I have more than enough cash flow coming in so that I would never ever stress about money and I was able to live the life that I want. But more importantly, it meant that I couldn't hire a team. right? Because if I hired a team, assistants, VAs, whatever it was going to kill my profits and drop that profit margin way down, which cuts into my actual cash flow. Number 2, purpose. While the money is awesome, of course, I'm not going to argue that, the money motivation dies once you make enough. For most people, unless you're living in some crazy expensive city, $10K per month covers all your expenses. You've got more than you're ever going to need. Everything else is just kind of bonus after that. So once you kind of pass that $10K per month, you've got no more motivation to keep pushing, to keep scaling. So I believe to keep that motivation high, to keep your drive high, everything in your business kind of has to come from the motivation that you're doing it to help somebody else in some way or another, right? You have to have a purpose behind what you're doing, or you're not going to have the drive to continue to grow your business. Number 3, play. So I despise the entire hustle and grind, discipline till I die mindset because it almost made me quit. It drove me insane. It got me on anxiety meds, and it made me want to give up and stop playing this business game. So I set this as one of my core values, play, because I believe everything that is done inside the business should be fun and enjoyable too. Otherwise, it's not going to be sustainable enough to stick with long term. Number 4, simplicity. Simple scales and complex fails. With a solo business, anytime that complexity is introduced into the business, it tends to break something all the time. So I believe the business should feel peaceful and stress-free at least the majority of time. Lastly, number 5, most importantly to me, is freedom. I think a business should give you freedom, not take it away. So my goal with building my business in this new way was to only need or require about 3 to 4 hours per day of work so that I can work when I want, where I want, and however much I want throughout the week as well, so I can enjoy my freedom and my lifestyle however I want to do that as well. So I have used these 5 guiding principles to create what I call the Freedom Flywheel, which is the business model that I've run for the past few years now, since mid-2022. And it's also the same model that I use to teach other coaches as well, so that they can build their version of a freedom business, whatever that means to them. Now, like I said, when I made this huge shift, I was okay. I was going to be okay if it meant that my income was going to drop or my profits were going to drop, if it meant that I was going to get my time and my sanity back. But to my honest surprise, when I made this shift, I didn't lose money or decrease my income at all. After I made these shifts here, before I made these shifts, I guess, I had to hit a couple different 20K months randomly throughout the year, but most of the time, my income was very volatile. It was up and down every single month. I was ranging probably between like 7K per month to like 15, 16K per month on average most months. So while I still wanted those 20K plus per months, it was very rare that ever happened before I made the shift. After I made this change with this new business model that I started using, I haven't had a single month under 20K per month since October, maybe November of 2022. And my profit margins have increased as well since I've been running it solo now with no team, no VAs. But to me, the best part, and my favorite part anyways, is always going to be the freedom that I get now. The freedom to only work 3 to 4 hours per day, to let go of the hustle and grind mindset, to get rid of the 10 plus hour days, and to have my calendar empty, to live my life the way that I want, while my business kind of just fuels my lifestyle that I want to live. And I'm going to give you an example of what this freedom business has done for me and how it has allowed me to build the business I want while still remaining profitable. So my wife is from Brazil. A couple of years ago, it would have been December of 2022, January of 2023, she wanted to fly home to see her parents over Christmas and New Year's, and she wanted me to go with her. So my previous business was in the fitness coaching niche. And if you know anything about the fitness space, you'll know that January is by far the best month to sign new clients because everyone's kind of just sick of the New Year's kind of fat belly that they've got. They hate themselves because they ate like an asshole the entire month of December. So they're ready to kind of invest in themselves and put their money where their mouth is instead of the food, right? So January was by far the best month to make money in the fitness industry. And with the way that my old business was run previously, before I made the big shift, there would be no way in hell I would ever even consider a 3-week vacation through the end of January, first 2-3 weeks of January, because it would mean losing out on a shit ton of cash. However, at that point, it was about 6 months after I made this shift in my business, and I changed kind of everything around to give me the freedom and give me the lifestyle business that I wanted. And because I got to the point where I only needed to work a couple hours per day while I was in Brazil with my wife, sitting on the beach, enjoying the beautiful weather. I had one of my best ever cash collected months ever. I made a little over $27,000. And that to me kind of told me and signified to me that I made the right choice. I made the right decision making this big shift back in, it probably would have been like July, August of 2022 that I kind of went through this big overhaul for my business and said, hey, I got to stop doing this the old way. I got to rebuild this my way. And then to hit that $27,000 a month while I was on vacation in the busiest month of the year, while I was sitting on the beach, was just like, I made the right choice. And that was only possible because of the systems I had built and put into place, because of this freedom flywheel that I'm now going to show you here and kind of walk you through in this video here. So that's what it did for me, what it meant to me, and why I will never ever go back to the old way of hustle and grinding and sales calls and the content hamster wheel that just drove me insane and just ruined my life. So if you're in a place now where you feel like you're hustling and grinding but not making the progress that you want, just know that you don't have to stay in that place. You don't have to stay stuck there. You can build the business that you want that gives you the freedom that you want to live your life without sacrificing your profits and your income as well. So let me show you exactly how to do that. So I'm going to walk you through this freedom flywheel now that has allowed me to do that. So let's get tactical here. Now, I want to start with kind of the simplest explanation first. Then I'm going to kind of expand on it and walk through each of these systems here one at a time, show you how each of them work. But if we were to pull everything back to the bare foundations, this right here is kind of a little image kind of showing you what the daily actions are that we use to actually drive progress and make money with the system here. So we have one simple ad, which brings in leads on autopilot every single day. We have one Instagram story with a call to action for a lead magnet. We have one daily post on social media with a call to action for a lead magnet. And then both of those lead magnets are also going to add people to your email list. And of course, those lead magnets are also going to start DM conversations with all inbound leads as well. And then once people are on our email list, we send one email per day with an offer to work with us. And then we simply have one core offer that is in basically a document like this here. Document like this, 4-page document with just text here. This is our offer doc. Obviously, it's a digital file that we send in the DMs, and that turns leads into clients. Simple as that. So that is essentially the freedom flywheel. And those are all the systems and strategies and tools that make this business possible here. So what I want to do next is kind of walk through the systems and the strategies behind these daily actions here that make this all work, right? So this right here is the freedom flywheel. This is all the 5 different strategies that are within the freedom flywheel that kind of correlate with each of those daily actions as well. So every single system here is meant to simplify your business, allowing you to scale without sacrificing your time, your energy, and your peace. So within this model, there's essentially 5 key systems that I use: the daily client machine, Instagram story selling, the conversion content ecosystem, email sales engine, and a sell by chat system. So I'm going to walk you through each of the systems here and I'll explain how they work and how you can kind of use them for yourself and your business too, if you want. So system number 1 is the daily client machine. This is by far the best lead generation tool that I've ever found to date. So what we do is we use a simple follower ad to grow the audience with targeted and quality leads. Now, you've probably heard of follower ads before, but chances are either you're doing them already and you're doing them wrong, or the way that you've heard that they work has been wrong as well. So most people, when they use follower ads, they optimize just for more followers, and they use a call to action to essentially just tell your viewers to say, hey, give me a follow and check out the rest of my content on my profile. This is a complete waste of your ad, right? It does absolutely nothing good for you except grow your follower number, which is a vanity metric. It just doesn't matter at all. So instead, what you want to do to make these ads work is we include a call to action right on the ad for a lead magnet instead of just a follow. So what this does is it gets us inbound leads every single day, even without the other systems in the flywheel that are also going to compound and add even more inbound leads, right? So just with the very first system, the follower ad that we have running, we get inbound leads every single day. Now, you might be wondering or asking yourself, why the hell would I want to use ads? Why would I want to pay money to spend on ads when I can just use organic content? Since organic content is free, right? Why would I not just scale my business and save my money? The problem is organic content can work good in some cases, but it requires a very, very large element of luck. And often, in a lot of cases, a lot of skill and a lot of practice to get good enough at organic content to get it growing for you consistently. The other big issue with organic content is that it relies on algorithms to work, which are completely out of your control. Ads, on the other hand, are predictable and they are controllable. So with ads, you pay money, obviously, to invest into the ads. And then what you get in return is you get a predetermined amount of eyeballs on your content and you reach the audience that you want every single time. They are predictable and they are controllable. And if you don't have a predictable and controllable lead generation system, you don't really have a business. you're kind of just got a lottery ticket that you're playing every single day. And I'm sure you know that the odds of winning the lottery are probably not in your favor. And same thing goes if you're only relying on organic content. The odds of winning and scaling your business are just not in your favor at all. Now, the great thing is with this style of ads here that we use is that they require practically zero skill. I've had clients launch their first ever ad and get a fucking winner immediately. That just starts filling their DMs with qualified leads within 24 hours after they've been playing the organic game for 3, 4, 5+ years with little to no results. So with the ad system I use here that I teach, people will typically start off getting about 3 to 5x return on their ad spend within the first month or so. So what that means in actual money is like if they, for every $1 that they spent, they would earn on average $3 to $5 back within the first month. For example, let's say that you spent $500 on ads. You would expect to earn back anywhere from like $1,500 to $2,500 on that your profit from those ads invested, right? And then that's going to snowball over time. Of course, as you increase your ad spend, it increases, but also as you are, there's going to be some people that see your ad, they don't comment, they don't engage with your ad at all, so they don't become an inbound lead at that time, but maybe they still give you a follow. So they're also going to get nurtured and warmed up over time. So that's going to get you more inbound leads down the road that maybe just didn't happen immediately. So the compounding of the warming up and the nurturing people and the compounding of you increasing your ad spend over time is going to scale up those profits margins over time as well, right? So after say 6 months of running ads, 6 to 8 months usually, most of my clients are seeing profits in the range of 7 to X return on their ad spend, which means that for every $1 they put in, they get $7 to $10 back, and that just scales up practically infinitely as you increase your ad spend, right? Now, you don't have to start with high budgets either. A lot of my clients start with as little as $5 to $10 per day, then just kind of scale up over time, and you increase your ad spend as you get more clients. So it's never cash out of your pocket. It's never cash lost. It's just kind of money reinvested back into your ads from the profit that you're getting from your clients. After they sign up, they pay you. You just kind of reinvest some of your profits back into your ads. That's how you increase your ad spend without losing money. Simple as that. So that is system number 1. System number 2 is Instagram story selling. This is by far the simplest system in the flywheel here. So while it is simple, it's also one of the most important ones for driving inbound leads. It works very, very well for getting people engaging with your account, following your account, to then kind of siphon them into your inbox. So what we do here is we post one Instagram story per day with a call to action offering a free lead magnet. Very simple as that. So when we're posting a story, we're going to vary the image, we're going to vary the call to action, and we're going to vary the lead magnet that we're offering as much as possible, as much as variety as possible with all 3 of those different factors there to keep people interested and keeping engagement high on your stories. That's really it, right? It's pretty difficult to screw that one up. It's just one story per day with a call to action. Now, of course, you can post multiple stories on top of that, like beyond that, if you want to like share behind the scenes, personal life stuff to kind of help build some know, like, and trust. That's awesome. You can throw those in there too if you want to, but really the only requirement is one story per day with a call to action. That's it for system number 2. System number 3 is the conversion content ecosystem. So the core of the system really comes down to just using one simple Instagram post on your feed every single day. Now that post can be an image, it can be a reel, it can be a carousel, or a combination of all of the above. You can vary them from day to day. Whatever you kind of lean towards works awesome. Now every single post also is going to have a call to action for a free lead magnet. Now the purpose of offering a free lead magnet on our ad, on our Instagram stories, and our Instagram feed posts kind of has 3 goals as well. So number 1, it moves people through our content ecosystem, building massive amounts of trust very quickly. So I'll explain more about that in a second. Goal number 2 is that when somebody requests a lead magnet, they also get added to your email list as well. Goal number 3 is that when somebody requests a lead magnet, they become an inbound lead, which means we can have a DM conversation with them as well. And we just kind of guide that DM conversation towards making them an offer. Simple as that. So 3 places that we offer lead magnets for the first 3 systems of the Freedom Flywheel. All of those generate inbound leads. So there shouldn't ever be a shortage of opportunities for you to make sales. Plus, what it does is it gets people moving through our content ecosystem, which builds trust very quickly to take a lead from cold to sold within a few weeks. So what exactly is the content ecosystem? It's very simple. So instead of the typical lead magnets that most coaches use, the PDF guides, the checklists, the cheat sheets, whatever it might be, instead of those, we use long form videos, just like this one right here, as a lead magnet. So what this does is over time, as you're building out these videos, you're able to create a sort of a library of bingeable content that a lead can come to one video, see the rest of your content, see your whole library of videos here. They can kind of binge watch all those videos, and it's going to have them spending hours with you, hours of engaged time watching your content over a very short period of time, within a couple days or a couple weeks, which getting them to kind of speed run through a large amount of your content makes it very easy to make sales. Because when they're binge watching your long form content, the amount of trust that is built is just insane compared to if you're only using short form content. So there's two main reasons why this content ecosystem works so well. Number one, the old way of content marketing just doesn't work anymore, right? Things are changing very, very fast in the online business space, especially in the coaching world. So it used to be that you could just post a few 30-second reels, go viral once in a while, get a bunch of followers. Some of them would buy after just finding you online a few days ago. Very, very simple, right? Those days are sadly long gone. So what we're finding is that trust online is very low and skepticism is very high because there's simply a lot more people online selling stuff, especially now that AI content is kind of taking over the internet. So what that means is that there's more people than ever before selling stuff online, and there's more content than ever before online as well. So prospects, leads, don't know who to trust or who to believe anymore, right? Now, there's one study that was done by Google less than a year ago that proved this theory as well. So what the Google study found is that on average, prospects needed to, before they would buy from somebody or a brand online, the prospect needed to consume 7 hours of engaged content time across 11 touch points over 4 different locations. So if you're only using or relying on short form content on Instagram, it's just not going to cut it anymore. It's just not going to work. You're not going to build the amount of trust and the amount of touch points and different locations that the prospects needs to develop that sense of know, like, and trust with you before they're going to give you money, right? People just don't trust strangers on the internet as much anymore. So we have to do everything in our power to build as much trust as possible. Now, on top of all that, the way that the algorithms work on social media platforms, especially Instagram, is that primarily people are only shown new content rather than the people that they actually follow. So it's become that staying in front of your people that actually follow you, your audience, is more difficult than it ever has been before. So we need to kind of create this content ecosystem to kind of keep people in our world long enough to actually nurture them before they're actually ready to buy. And that's just not possible if you're only relying on short form content like it used to be. Now, problem number 2 is that the way that most coaches run their business, the way that most gurus kind of teach people to run their business, just doesn't work for the kind of business that we're trying to run or build anymore. So most coaching businesses use or run with what I call a sales-driven business model. So in a sales-driven business model, the content itself doesn't really matter a whole lot. The only purpose of content is to push people to a sales call where then you kind of pressure, persuade, and manipulate people into buying, right? So the sales call itself does 99% of all the heavy lifting for the business. But that's probably not how you or I want to run your businesses, right? So what we're trying to build here with the Freedom Flywheel is a freedom-focused business where we can sell in the DMs without sales calls in a no-pressure, less stressful way. So the sales-driven model doesn't really work anymore. We need to use a marketing-driven business model rather than a sales-driven model. So what that means is that our content needs to do all the heavy lifting for us instead of the sales call, and our content needs to pre-sell leads before they ever see our offers. So this is another reason why we need the content ecosystem, right? We need multiple touch points, different locations, multiple long-form pieces of content to build that trust and take the prospect from cold to sold so that we can sell in the DMs or we can sell directly through email with a simple offer doc rather than a 45-minute sales call that kind of persuades and manipulates somebody to buy, right? We need people to see our offer doc and be pre-sold so that they say, hey, yes, this looks awesome. This is what I'm looking for. I'm in. Right? Simple as that. And we need this content ecosystem to make that happen. Now, I know that might sound a little complicated, but I promise you it's really not. Like I said, the core of the content ecosystem really just comes down to one simple Instagram post per day with a call to action that moves prospects throughout your ecosystem. That's it. So system number 4 is what I call the email sales engine. Now, most coaches are sleeping on the power of email and leaving a huge missed opportunity on the table. Email is by far the best marketing and sales tool for a coaching business. And I want to share with you 2 quick stories to kind of demonstrate that. So first of all, Back in my previous business, I had about 427,000 followers across Instagram and TikTok, but my email list at the time was a little over 11,800 something subscribers. So if you do the math on that, it's about 2.7% of the total size of my social media audience. My email list was, right? But about 52 to 53% of my client sales and revenue came from my email list every single month. So what that means is that every single email subscriber was 39 times more valuable than any single social media follower. Because when you have a massive social media audience, it's very likely that if somebody gives you a follow, they might never ever see your content ever again with the way that the algorithm works. But with email, when you hit send, every single one of those subscribers gets that email in their inbox every single day. Also, you can make an offer to join your coaching program every single day in your email, which is part number 4 of the Freedom Flywheel. So if you were to make offers on social media every day or even every week, hell, even every month, you're going to burn out your audience. People just don't like being sold to on social media. People don't like being sold to in public. So if you're posting promotions, sales or talking about your coaching program all the time on your social media, people are just going to tune out. They're going to stop engaging with your content. They're going to stop watching because they're going to feel like, oh, this guy, all this person does is sell to me. I don't care about this. I don't want to be sold to. I'm not going to even follow this person anymore. So they stop ignoring your content, or they start ignoring your content and they stop paying attention to you. So selling in public doesn't work. Selling in private does, because email is just, it's more of a private space, right? The inbox, people just don't treat it the same way that they do with social media platforms, especially with the way that I teach email, which is where we kind of give content first, and then only at the very bottom of every email, we kind of make a short soft sales pitch to offer a coaching program for the people that are interested, right? So with email, the way that we do it, we can make an offer every single day without annoying the subscribers, so that they keep opening our emails, they keep reading our emails. And then if they don't want to buy, they just ignore the little pitch at the bottom. If they do want to buy, they just reply to the email and they move through to the next step in the sales process. Simple as that. So when it's done right, you can get way more client signups this way than doing promotions on social media. So email is by far the best sales and marketing platform or tool if you are trying to run a coaching business and get more clients. Now, story number 2 of why email is so important is kind of a little bit of a horror story. So one morning back in 2024, little over a year and a half ago, I guess it would be now, I opened up my Instagram app and I saw a very terrifying message that said something along the lines of, your account has been suspended, your account or the activity within your account didn't follow our community guidelines. That was it. No explanation, no details, no chance to appeal, no support to reach out to, no way to get it back. 131,000 followers on my Instagram, gone overnight. Thankfully, at the time, like I said, I had almost 12,000 subscribers on my email list. So when I lost my Instagram account, my business didn't die with it. But this is the reality of running a business. This can happen at any time to anybody for no apparent reason at all. You do not own your followers on social media. You probably also know somebody that has lost their Instagram account, because this is happening more often than ever. So I want you to think for a moment, if your Instagram account got the big delete button and disappeared tonight, what would happen to your business tomorrow? Would you still be able to run your business, make sales, get clients, or would you be applying at the pizza place down the corner? Right? That's the reality of running a coaching business and only relying on one single platform. If all of your audience is on Instagram, that can be taken away from you at any moment. So if you want a safety net for your business, you need an audience that you own, that you have control over. So you better start building an email list as soon as possible. And if you want an extremely profitable marketing channel where you can reach and contact your best leads anytime you want, you better start building an email list now. And that is why I put such a high importance on email, and I have it as one of the core systems in my business. Lastly, strategy number 5 of the Freedom Flywheel is the sell by chat system, where we have one single offer. So I'm going to share another story here. So I took my first ever sales call from my previous business in 2018, probably within like February, March of 2018 was my first ever sales call. Now, I did that because back when I first started playing this whole online business game, nobody ever told me that there was any other option to sign coaching clients besides doing sales calls. So I knew that if I wanted to make money, I needed to learn to sell on the phone. And damn it, did I ever. I obsessed over sales calls for many years. Between January 2018 when I started the business and December 2022 when I stopped doing sales calls, I did about 390 sales calls total. And over those 390 calls, I averaged 78.7% closing rate, somewhere around there, on all of those calls. I did hundreds and hundreds of hours of role play practice with sales call training with peers, with other coaches, with mentors of mine. I got hired by a mentor of mine to coach sales to his entire client base. I ran a sales team of my own for another coaching business for a short while back in the very beginning of 2022. And I got burnt out very, very badly with all the sales calls. I hated sales calls. And the worst part of sales calls is that my calendar used to look like this every single week. And that was not really the freedom that I had in mind when I started a business. I had basically created another prison for myself, another day job for myself, where I was kind of a slave to my calendar. Except this time, instead of having just one boss that kind of told me what to do and controlled my life and my calendar, I had hundreds of leads that controlled my calendar and my schedule and my time. Which I did not like at all. So I became more of a slave to my coaching business than I was in my old career. And on top of that, what I really hated about sales calls was how sleazy I felt doing objection handling and just kind of manipulating people or pushing people to buy. I hated how I would have to cancel plans to book a sales call, and then the sales call would just no-show me and ghost me, and then I would just have waste all my time. There's so many different aspects of sales calls that I fucking hated. So in 2022, as part of that transition away from the old business model that I was using, that was stealing my freedom and mentally driving me crazy, into the freedom flywheel that I was building at the time, I decided to give up sales calls for good. And I think it was December 12th of 2022 was the last sales call that I ever took. And here's how I did it. I took my sales call script that I was using on sales calls, and I took that sales call script and I split it into two different parts. The normal kind of like the discovery phase of the sales call script, I turned into my DM script, and then I took the 6-minute pitch out of my sales call script, and I turned that into basically an offer doc, basically that I put into a Google document. So I showed you that earlier. Looks like this, 4 pages of text. That's it, right? So that 4-page document that I have, it was obviously a digital file, not a piece of paper. So I would send that in the DMs, and that would turn leads into clients for me. Very simple as that. So I would send that Google Doc in the DMs. They would let me know if they were in or not. Simple as that. I stopped objection handling. I didn't do any objection handling at all in the DMs, and I still do not to the day. I stopped trying to push people in that weren't ready to buy, because it only created bad clients. So what this did is it freed up 15 to 20 hours per week by emptying my calendar. And it took a lot of stress off my back because I wasn't manipulating, persuading people to buy. I wasn't objection handling anymore. It just made running my business and doing sales a lot more peaceful and enjoyable and a lot less stressful. And it allowed me to sell my coaching program when I was at the grocery store, between sets at the gym, on the couch watching Netflix, or on the beach in Brazil with my wife. And now this is what my calendar looks like today. I only do calls twice a week with paying clients, never leads. That's it. Empty calendar. And I scale my business without taking up or sacrificing my time. So that is how the Sell by Chat system works, and that is the entire Freedom Flywheel model. Now, you might be wondering, what happens afterwards? What happens after you put this foundation in place? How do I use these 5 systems to actually scale my business? It's pretty simple. So what we do is we track our KPI data on a little spreadsheet that looks like this here. And then every single week and every month, we look at this data here and we know exactly what's working and what's not working. And then we use that KPI data there to know exactly where the bottleneck is, so that we can address the right problems at the right time and solve those problems, those issues, so we can continue to scale. So then once we fixed our bottlenecks and roadblocks, once we have our KPIs within target that we want, within the range that we want, then we simply reinvest 10 to 15% of our monthly profits back into our ads to scale up our profits even further. For example, if we were to spend $1,000 on ads one month, and that month we made $13,000 in profit, the next month we would reinvest some money back into the ad spend. We would increase our ad spend up to maybe $1,500 or so, and we'd likely to see our profits increase to $15,000 so on average, right? Just some random numbers I'm throwing up there to kind of help you understand the idea there. But that's how the scaling and reinvesting works, to kind of slowly increase your ad spend and increase your profits over time. Very simple as that. Then what we do, once we kind of have that process in place, our flywheel is running, we just kind of continue to let that run and scale up until either you reach your client cap, where you can't handle any more clients because you're busy enough, you don't want to spend more time in your business. So at that point, you've reached your client cap, we would start to increase your prices as well for all future clients. Or other option is, once you reach your monthly income goals, whether that's 15, 20, 25, 30K, whatever you're aiming for, you reach your monthly income goal where you're happy at, you can choose to just kind of put things on autopilot and coast and enjoy the freedom that your business gave you. Either way, the Freedom Flywheel is the simplest way to scale your business and help you reach your goals. And that's it. That is the entire Freedom Flywheel that has made it possible for me to hit 20 to 30K per month for almost 3 years straight now in 2 different coaching businesses, while only working about 4 hours per day, 3 to 4 hours per day, with no sales calls and no team. And the best part about all these systems here is that once we set them up, once they're running, once we have the foundations in place, everything kind of just runs on autopilot, right? We can stick to those 5 simple systems there, and they're going to continue to grow your business for you. One simple ad, one simple Instagram story, one simple daily post, one simple daily email, and one simple offer. That's all it takes to scale your coaching business to 250K plus per year. So I've done it twice myself. I've had 11 clients hit that milestone so far, and dozens of others are on their way as well. And it is possible for you too. Now, I know that we covered a lot in this video here, but I've literally given you a roadmap, a game plan to build this for yourself and kind of just copy what I'm doing if this is the kind of business that you want, which is going to give you back your time, your freedom, and your peace to scale without sacrificing your profits either. So you can take all of this, you can run with it, you can create it for yourself, or if you would like my help to install these systems and the support to do this right the first time so that you can skip the trial and error process and the possibly months or years of trial and error and testing, I would love to invite you to join me inside of Category Kings, which is my mentorship program. So I will drop a link below this video somewhere for you to check out the details on that if you're interested in seeing what it would look like for us to work together. Either way, I hope this video here was very insightful for you and kind of opened your eyes to seeing that maybe there's some new ways of building a coaching business that you didn't know were possible before. A new way that gives you the freedom to put your lifestyle first and to build a business in a fun, simple way.